Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet. In this session, we'll continue to discuss from the 20th verse of the 12th chapter of the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. The previous session, we discussed one part of the purport of this 20th verse. In this session, we'll discuss the second part of the purport of this 20th verse. Just to refresh your memory, the 20th verse is as follows. Esha data sharanyascha yatha hi aushinara shibihi yasho vitanita swanam daushyantir iva yajvanam. So the meaning of this 20th verse is, this child will be a munificent donor of charity and protector of the surrendered, like the famous king Shibi of the Ushinara country. And he will expand the name and fame of his family like Bharata, the son of Maharaj Dushyanta. In a previous session, we discussed about Maharaj Shibi. Now, we will discuss about Bharata, the son of Maharaj Dushyanta. So, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada briefly mentions the history of this Bharata, son of Maharaj Dushyanta. First of all, Srila Prabhupada says, there are many Bharatas in history, of which 3 are very famous. 3 Bharatas are famous. Who are the 3 Bharatas who are very famous? The first one is the Bharata who is the brother of Lord Ramachandra. The brother of Lord Ramachandra, who is actually the son of Dasharath Maharaj. That Bharata. You can say Dasharathi Bharata. Dasharathi Bharata. The second Bharata, who is famous in history, Vedic history, is Bharata, the son of King Rishabha. The Lord appeared as Rishabhadeva, King Rishabhadeva, emperor of the world, and he had 100 sons. Of these 100 sons, the eldest one was Bharat Maharaj. That Bharat Maharaj, he renounced his kingdom at a very young age, practiced very nice austerities, and became advanced spiritually. But towards the end of his life, when he was performing tapasya after retiring from his kingdom, he got attached to a deer and he had to take a deer's body in his next life, even though he was spiritually very advanced. And he was given remembrance of his spiritual activities by Krishna within his heart, in the body of a deer. And he was very, very cautious not to get misled by any material distractions, even in the body of a deer. And then he was again given a chance to take birth in a Brahmana family. And in that life, third life, he perfected himself and went back to Godhead. So that Bharata is also famous, the second Bharata. And the third Bharata who is famous is mentioned in this verse. Bharata, the son of Maharaj Dushyanta. He is also very famous. So all these Bharatas are historically known to the universe. See, the scriptures describe universal history. And nowadays, the discussion about history is only about some incidents that happened on this planet in the past. But Vedic literature are describing to us the history of the universe. There are millions of planets in one universe. There are millions of universes in this material creation. And apart from this material creation, there is spiritual world which is not created, which is eternal. So all these are described in the Vedic literature, the Vedic scriptures. So the Vedic scriptures give us knowledge which is comprehensive and vast as compared to the body of knowledge that we have in our modern age, which is very, 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 very limited and tiny and incomplete, imperfect knowledge. The three Bharatas are historically known to the universe. This earth planet is known as Bharata, Bharatavarsha, due to King Bharata, the son of Rishabhadeva, the second Bharata I mentioned. After Rishabhadeva's son Bharata was ruling, this earth planet became famous Bharatavarsha. Before the reign of this Bharata, king of this earth planet, as the son of King Rishabha, this land was known as Ilavrita. And just after the coronation of the king Bharata, who was the son of Rishabha, this land became famous as Bharatavarsha. Now, Srila Prabhupada says, even though the second Bharata is very famous, because the land itself, the planet Earth itself is famous as Bharatavarsha, nonetheless, Bharata, the son of Maharaj Dushyanta, was no less important. He was also a great personality. And his history is also recorded in our scriptures. Now, this Bharata, the son of Maharaj Dushyanta, was described as Daushyantir iva Yajvanam, Daushyanti Bharata, son of Dushyanta. He is the son of the famous beauty Shakuntala. So, it is described elsewhere, Maharaj Dushyanta fell in love with Shakuntala in the forest, and Bharata was conceived as a son of Maharaj Dushyanta and Shakuntala. Now this Maharaj Dushyanta, he forgot his wife Shakuntala by the curse of one Kanva Muni. The details are given elsewhere. Here Prabhupada mentions briefly the history. And therefore, this child Bharata was brought up in the forest by his mother, son of a Kshatriya king. And this child was raised by the mother in the forest itself. Now, this child Bharata, even in his childhood, he was so powerful that he challenged the lions and elephants in the forest and would fight with them as little children play with cats and dogs. This much powerful this Bharata, the son of Maharaj Dushyanta, was, even when he was a young boy raised in the forest by his mother Shakuntala. Now it is said, because of the boys becoming so strong, single-handedly he could combat elephants and lions in the forest. So he became so strong, more than the so-called Tarzan. There are fictitious characters created nowadays who are actually not real people who have got any strength. They are characters created for the sake of some entertainment for children. So one such character Prabhupada mentions, Tarzan, is shown to be very, very powerful, but he's not a real person, he's not a living person. He's simply one fictitious character. So Prabhupada says this boy Bharata is not a fictitious character created by some imaginative story writer. No, he is a real person, and as a boy he was even more powerful than the so-called Tarzan. Therefore the rishis in the forest, they called him Sarvadaman, means one who is able to control everyone else. He was so powerful. Sarvadaman, they called him like that. And Srila Prabhupada says this Maharaj Bharata, son of Dushyanta, is fully described in the Mahabharata Adi Parva. Now the Pandavas or the Kurus are sometimes addressed as Bharata. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna addresses Arjuna as Bharata. So that is because the Pandavas are born in the dynasty of the famous Maharaj Bharata, who was the son of King Dushyanta. That's why the Pandavas are called Bharata. Or the members of the Kuru dynasty also. Even Dhritarashtra is addressed as Bharata by Sanjaya in the Bhagavad Gita. So that name Bharata for the descendant of Bharata, the son of King Dushyanta. So this Bharata was famous for performing many sacrifices. A king should perform sacrifices for the sake of the welfare of the whole kingdom. Because in the Bhagavad Gita it is explained that Annad bhavanti bhutani parjanyad anna sambhavaha yajnad bhavati parjanyo yajna karma samudbhavaha. There is a cycle that is operating in this earth planet. What is that? That all living beings subsist on food grains, directly or indirectly. The vegetarians directly subsist on food grains, but the non-vegetarians, they subsist on animals who subsist on food grains. So therefore, directly or indirectly, all living beings are dependent on food grains, and the food grains are due to rains, proper rainfall. We know that when there is excessive rain or there is scarcity of rain, then there is no proper production of grains. So production of grains, sufficient quantity of grains for all creatures, humans and the animals and the other birds, etc., depends on proper rainfall. Because we cannot manufacture food grains in factories and industries and all kinds of scientific research. We cannot manufacture food grains. It has to be grown on the land, fertile land. And even if the land is fertile, unless there is proper rainfall, you cannot get sufficient grains production. So now the rains are dependent on yajnat bhavati parjanyo. Parjanya means rainfall. Rainfall is dependent on proper performance of yajna. So yajna performance by the human beings ensures adequate rainfall, not too much, not too little. And if there is proper rainfall, there is plenty of grain production. And that grain production will nourish all creatures on this earth planet, human beings and the lower creatures also, everyone. And this is the arrangement of the Supreme Lord. Yajna karma samudbhavaha. Yajna means to perform prescribed duties, not self-assumed duties. Nowadays people think, oh, my duty is something according to what I think is my duty. No. Duty is something that is prescribed in this Shastra for the overall welfare of the entire population of this world. Otherwise, by artificial means we cannot get our necessities, not possible. There will only be a failure of the administrators to provide for the necessities of the people of the country by artificial methods. It's not going to work. So Bhagavad Gita says the natural method is they should perform yajna, and the foremost person to perform yajna is the king, the ruler, the leader of all the people in the world. He should perform a yajna, and when he performs yajna, there is prosperity for all the people of the country. And this Dushyanta was famous for having performed many sacrifices. Similarly, Parikshit also will perform sacrifices for the welfare of the entire kingdom, and there will be prosperity because of this child growing up to rule the whole world. That's what is being foretold by the Brahmanas to King Yudhishthira. I'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.